Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Sanctuary's 2024 annual year in review and what our vision of 2025 looks like. I'm so grateful to be here as Sanctuary's co-founder, vice president, and director of operations, and reflect on this incredible year of growth that we've had in our community over the past year and envision with you what this year to come in 2025 looks like. So much has happened. So first, I want to invite you to take a moment and take a intentional breath together, breathing in gratitude for this amazing community full of so many wonderful people that are co-creating with us every day.
Thank you, Courtney. For those of you watching who don't know, I'm Eric Osborne, the president and co-founder of Sanctuary. At the heart of everything we do is a simple yet profound mission, and that is to bring people together for healing and connection to divine revelation through communion with these sacred mushrooms. Our vision is to strengthen community, accessibility, and connection so that we all may live in a world of joyful, supportive communities, empowered to explore our divinity. As we reflect on the past year, let's keep this purpose in our hearts and minds, guiding us forward into 2025 and beyond.
Hi, everyone. This is Amy Samuelson. I am the treasurer for Sanctuary Church, and I also am on the leadership team, do a lot of everything, I suppose. So this year, our community grew stronger and more connected and increased by 8%, reaching 488 members across 7 countries. Every new member represents a soul drawn to this sacred work, a new voice contributing to our shared vision. This growth is a testament to the power of our mission, and we are deeply grateful for every person who has found their way to Sanctuary.
Our ministership program, our ministership program has seen such incredible growth over the past few years. It really started out as a big idea and vision to empower our members to really feel secure in their mushroom practice and empower our members to have communion in their own sacred space at home without relying on waiting for ceremony as a group a few times a year. So our ministership program has continued to thrive this past year in 2024 with growing enrollment numbers, which really is a reflection of our community commitment. More individuals than ever before have stepped forward to embrace ministerial roles, guiding and supporting each other on their paths of communion. And this expansion of our ministership program really strengthens our community as a whole, because for each person that is empowering themselves to build their own mushroom practice and learning how to hold space for their loved ones, just does that for everybody, not just within Sanctuary, but within our larger global community as well.
Yeah, so like Courtney's saying, if we take a broader look at this minister program, step back, we can see that this has empowered a significant number of ministers out there dedicated to this practice. And what this really does is creates a network of support around the country. This helps so much in decentralizing this process and also in increasing accessibility and training folks to be facilitators for people within their own communities, which is a skill that extends far beyond just the ceremony space. Each minister is like a light carrying forward this wisdom that they gain through working with the mushrooms, and they spread that light to others that they interact with and encounter intentionally. This is what really deepens the integrity and the strength of our community and builds a network, as we're seeing across the nation and eventually across the world. The ripples from this are just now starting to be seen. We know that at least among a handful of ministers, there have been at minimum 50 ceremonies that have been gifted out around this country right now. That represents an incredible value and really a return to some of what the more original practices with these mushrooms were historically. So 2024 was a year of vibrant gatherings. We strengthened many bonds through these shared experiences. We had many powerful ceremonies and uh, also opportunities without the mushroom to connect. We hosted 5 camping ceremonies. 3 of those were donation based, which ensures greater accessibility and is also our mission moving forward is that hopefully all of our ceremonies will be strictly donation based as time moves on. We brought our presence, and it was a strong presence to 2 different festivals in Kentucky celebrating community, and also to Maine. We had our first celebration festival outside of Kentucky just before the Maine Fungi Fest. That was a beautiful experience where Courtney and I really felt honored to get to go and meet so many wonderful people from uh, up north who have been active members in our community virtually. These events are really the heartbeat of community. Yes, we do a lot of virtual stuff that brings people together from around the country and locally. But when we have these in-person meetings, we really see how those connections deepen. It is one of the most joyful and beautiful experiences to have these nurturing relationships via Zoom, and then to uh, join together in person and feel that bond deepen almost immediately. So this work has been really joyful and profound, and really is a testimony to who we are and what we do.
And what we do couldn't be done with without all the volunteers. I kind of went through this morning looking at the list of people. And yeah, I just want to say none of this would be possible without the selfless dedication of our volunteers. You're the hands and heart that make Sanctuary thrive. Some of the people, we had folks that helped with Sunday service: Nancy, Steve, Chris, Christine, and Poe doing the West Coast service. Circle leads, people that are there and show up over and over and over again to lead those virtual circles: Debbie P, Jeff, Honor, Greg. Others that have helped with program development and helping us with programming: Lester, Elena, how much she showed up through Maine and helping build that. The Sacred Passage program itself: Autumn, Guy, Jason, Debbie. Everybody who came to Playthink, the Mushroom Fest, and volunteered, or even if you didn't volunteer, I guess overall, like anybody who shows up, thank you. It's so neat to get to see everyone and develop our relationship over the long term through all these different opportunities to volunteer.
Yeah, so to deepen this impact and build a sustainable organization, 2024 saw the expansion of our governance structure and leadership team. This is foundational to us being not only long-standing, but respected and validated within other religious communities. It's very important. Sanctuary is a faith-based organization. We are a church, a religious community, and it is incredibly important, particularly considering our sacrament and how we may be perceived, that we do our very best to be as professional and together and sustainable as possible. So what we've done here is devised a governance model. We are using holocracy as our template. it's a bit of a divergence from our original full decentralization, but that's just part of the evolutionary process as we see this. We have hired Elena as our program development manager, which has already added incredible value. We launched the Sacred Passage program under Debbie's guidance, Jason as well. That has been an incredible program that really couldn't have happened without that governance framework. So everything that we do will be built on that foundation of our holocracy governance. In 2025, we're going to continue implementing this structure, providing governance training. We will be onboarding new board members and dedicating a secretary to take Jason's place. We'll talk a little bit more about Jason and his progress and where he's at in our community in just a little bit here, but just know that these steps are really ensuring the longevity and integrity of our work. It is incredibly important that we have a strong foundation for our future.
Speaking of Jason and Debbie, this past year, we developed and launched the Sacred Passage Ministry. This is a ministry that I honestly, I didn't consider that this would be such a big part of what we do in our community when Eric, Athena, and I co-founded Psanctuary. And wow, I'm so honored and grateful to be witnessing this ministry blossom, thanks to, in large part, Debbie Pierce, who taught our Sacred Passage Minister Training Program. This past year, we had our first round of Sacred Passage ministers trained. So the Sacred Passage Ministry is a program that's designed to currently support individuals facing life-threatening diagnoses, individuals and their families and caretakers. So through this initiative, Psanctuary provides meaningful end-of-life experiences and ongoing integration support for those individuals and the families through the transition process and even afterwards. This is, as I mentioned, it's a profound evolution of our ministry with sacred mushrooms, really reflecting the deepest values of compassion and service within our community, and something that I think we're all hoping that we and our children and families will benefit from for generations to come. So that being said, that is currently what Sacred Passage is, really serving those in that phase of life. But looking ahead to 2025, we have a goal to expand Sacred Passage and this ministry to include 2 additional rites of passage programs, further honoring the significant transitions of human life. And there are many different transitions that generally we all go through. So we haven't defined exactly which 2 we're going to focus on this year. We're planning to survey our community and see what feels like the most important 2 to focus on. But this could include sacred union and partnership ceremonies. This could include elderhood and wisdom keeper ceremonies. We're really looking forward to developing those rites of passage programs and ceremonies. So please do, when those surveys and requests to contribute your opinion on what we should focus on come out, please do contribute.
Yes, and speaking of rites of passage, Jason has going through an incredible rite of passage that we have been so privileged to be part of his journey on. Jason has been an absolute pillar of wisdom and generosity in our community. He has shown up day in and day out for the better part of 3 years to help build Sanctuary, particularly at the governance level. His financial support, his insights, his business acumen have absolutely helped to shape not only Sacred Passage, but Sanctuary at the very core of its mission. Jason has continually reminded us to slow down, focus on sustainability, and stay true to our purpose. Now, Jason had a pretty interesting turn of events that you are welcome to explore through the Sacred Spaces podcast with Courtney. Jason is a quadriplegic of 20 plus years who had decided that it was time for him to um, let go of this life. And we held a sacred passage mushroom ceremony for him. And in that ceremony, it was revealed that it was not quite yet done. And so Jason is still with us, fortunately, not as an active board member, but still as an active member of Sanctuary. And he still stands as an incredible inspiration for us. And we are so, so grateful for everything that he has brought into our community from his heart, his mind, and even his body. Thank you so much, Jason, for everything that you've done.
Our new member and minister custom ID cards. Oh, you all, can you celebrate with me? We've been asked so much over the last 4 years when we are going to have custom ID cards for our members, and we have wanted that from the beginning, and it's really just been a matter of figuring out how administratively to roll this out. Big shout out to Elena, who has been a huge help in getting this process together. ID cards are really a way of enhancing our sense of community and accessibility. Our members and ministers can order these cards for a suggested donation, which just contributes to our vision and mission at Sanctuary. Each ID card includes your name, photo, a QR code that links to our legal statement on our website, which provides just a way to affirm identity and deepen your connection with Sanctuary. And there's even a little way to hook a lanyard around these cards, and you can wear one of these to a sanctioned Sanctuary event or fundraiser. And we're just really we're proud to have these cards as a way to show membership within our community and ministership.
Yes, indeed. And all of this, again, really these ideas that we have had in progress for quite some time, they really couldn't have gotten executed until we started to get this governance under our our footing, rather, excuse me. In 2024, again, thanks to Jason Eftink, we began to explore how we could govern Sanctuary in a way that really attempts to honor decentralization as much as possible, honors a democratic community of where every individual has a say, and also honoring the necessity to accomplish tasks and to move the needle on many projects that need work. So as we explored different models of decentralization, we ultimately found that full decentralization was not going to be sustainable for us in at least currently. So again, according to or through Jason's wonderful advice, we landed on holocracy. So holocratic governance is a bit of a hybridization between decentralization and democracy. It could empower decision, or it does empower decision making within the community, but also allows the leadership to efficiently make decisions so that projects can move forward in a timely manner. This approach fosters greater flexibility, collaboration, and alignment with core values, and rather than relying on rigid hierarchy or complex decentralization structures that require extensive communication over vast networks of people, we now function as an interconnected network, responsive, adaptable, and guided by collective wisdom.
We're aligning our operational guidelines with holocracy. And it's really neat to see that as we are building all of this out, it just is automatically already flowing into what holocracy is. I think because our vision and mission already aligned that way. So everyone, when you come in to Sanctuary, you have an understanding what the role is. If you're deciding to be a member, there's an agreement. If you're deciding to be a minister, there's an agreement. And then there's a circle of folks around you that are within that same agreement and within that same role, all supporting each other. And if we understand what is our domain and what are the kind of what are the guidelines I need to stay around, then I get a lot of autonomy by being in that circle to do the various things. And then bringing the folks in the circle together, like empowers that even more. Like the power exemplifies itself. And having policies and measures to kind of check, like feedback loops, for example, we've built in. Um, I just think it's really, really neat how it's all coming together. And I think you can play any role and no role is higher than another. Um, and we can all co-create together that way without a lot of competition, but more so coming together and each of us bringing in our unique skills and talents. And if you're signing up for any of these roles, thank you also for bringing yourself to them.
Yes, and this holocratic model is really what inspired a pretty big shift, realignment in how we were building out our minister programs. We had originally intended on having a community minister ordination, which would be an individual who was, let's say, presiding over community in their area. And well, that just has such a potential to create disharmony and top-down approach that is not what Sanctuary is a part of. So we decided to redirect our energy there. We discontinued the community minister program and shifted towards the friends and family model. This is so much more who we are as a community and what we believe the future of sacred mushroom practice should look like. We recognize that linking ceremonies with financial exchange misaligns values. In the work that I've done over the last 10 years or so, I can honestly say that the greatest barrier between myself and people that I have worked with in the ceremony space is money exchange when it has been there. And it is incredibly valuable to have someone holding space for you that is not tied to financial compensation. So, as we have shifted our perspective around this, we have seen it already have incredible impact on our community, not just those who are being served through the ministers, but the ministers themselves that are finding real ownership in their practice and their work with friends and family in their community. It is probably the thing that I'm celebrating most this year as we are really truly moving towards a more egalitarian approach to sacred mushroom practice within community. I truly believe that is the future of this work. And this also ensures ethical community-based access. This is key priority. So with this in mind, we feel like it is really important that these gifts of nature remain gifts. So this year we transitioned from a single grower model, which we had tried to implement for a couple of years, and instead have empowered ministers to cultivate their own training, or I'm sorry, to cultivate their own mushrooms. And we have implemented training programs to teach folks how to grow their own mushrooms. That is in partnership with Fungi Academy. Very happy about that. This shift now enhances a personal connection to the sacrament. It is no longer a product that people purchase or consume. It is something that they grow with, they live with, they build a relationship with. This aligns with our ethos all around, particularly the friends and family model, lining up with the peer-to-peer support model that we believe is most valuable for harm reduction and long-term success for everyone involved. Our ministers are not service providers. They are not therapists that you go to solve a problem. These are people that know you and love you and hold space for you and support you while you experience the divine on your terms. And that is central to who we are at Sanctuary. This also helps to reduce unnecessary legal exposure. We recognize that there is risk in our practice. And so this peer-to-peer support, hybridized decentralized model really limits that exposure and prevents any one person, aside from those of us on the board, perhaps, from being the object of finger pointing. So in 2025, we launched our Sacrament Gifting Network, available to trained ministers. So there is a vetting process. You know who you're gifting mushrooms to, that they have been trained by Sanctuary, and that they are vested members in our community. And again, we have partnered with Fungi Academy for training on cultivation. Fungi Academy, if you're not aware, is an incredible group in Guatemala that's been doing amazing work with sacred mushrooms for about 10 years now. They support their local community in Guatemala, and they support the sacred mushroom community at large around the world with their incredible services. So thank you very much, Fungi Academy.
And as Eric just spoke to, strengthening connections within our community remains at the core of our mission. We launched a beta test at the end of 2024 of our sacred membership circles, which was really exciting. The vision with these sacred membership circles is that we have a group of people that commit to continue to coming together on a regular basis and building relationships with each other. In order for all of these other things to work that we've talked about thus far in our presentation, it relies on, all those things rely on relationships within each other and a commitment within our community to build and strengthen those relationships. So we as Sanctuary have felt and continue to feel more and more so that it's important that we foster channels of connection. And so this is really exciting to be launching our sacred membership circles. So we'll be rolling out the official version very soon. We learned a lot from the beta test, and so we're excited to implement those changes. We also rolled out the beginning of 2025 monthly friends and family integration circles for our friends and family ministers. As Eric just spoke to, our friends and family minister network is so important to maintain accessibility to the mushroom in a safe and ethical way. And so it's really important that there's a way for our friends and family ministers who are holding space for their loved ones to have a space to process what happens in ceremony as they're holding space. So we just rolled out those monthly integration circles for our friends and family ministers who've been through 16 plus weeks of training. And we also added, beginning in this cohort of minister training programs, we added 2 myself minister integration calls in addition to the weekly course calls that we have in our myself minister training program. So now in that program, we have course focused calls focused on the content that our ministers are learning about each week, and the workbooks and the toolkits and the challenges. And then we have a separate call to focus on really connecting with ourselves and what's happening in our own lives, and practice sharing that with other ministers who are dedicated to growth in their mushroom practice. And when our next cohort of Sacred Passage Minister training begins again this year in April, we'll also have monthly integration calls specific to our Sacred Passage ministers, and those will be hosted by Debbie Pierce. So this is a really exciting evolution. It's taken a lot of work and dedicated time to figuring out processes and communication for all of these things to support our community, but it's absolutely worth it. We're really looking forward to seeing it evolve.
As we reflect on 2024, financial transparency remains a cornerstone of our commitment to this community. This is a copy of our balance sheet over here, where you can see we've grown in total assets from 54,000 as of last year to 221,000 as of this year. All of this is held currently in cash. So we are considering if we want to move anything over to invest it somehow. In the meantime, though, I just want to note that we had $220,000 in large donations this year. And if it were not for those, we would have $1,000. So thank you to Welby. Thank you. I don't know if the other person wants to be named, but thank you for the donations. And I will say also, as I go through the rest of this, thank you to everybody who's put even $1 into this. It all comes together. So anyway, we're in a much better financial position at the end of this year than we were as of last. That's a really beautiful vote of confidence. Statement of activity. I'm going to go ahead and go over that on the next page. If we can go ahead and shift the pages. So donations and fundraising this year, $321,000. Thank you to everyone who paid member dues, gave a donation during a circle or event. And on these donations, I think I just did want to mention some folks have had some specific things, the designated donations for Sacred Passage, the Myself and Cultivation programs and ceremony scholarships. And we've really tried to make sure we are bucketing dollars against each one of those as more donations come in. And we, one of the things we're looking at is building more data and having more information available to us. So anyway, thank you for everybody that's given donations. Fee for service revenue, you can see a total there of $82,000. The seminary brought in, and that's 165 folks that enrolled. So 165 people were able to get trained by paying $82,000. That's pretty good if we kind of look at what others are charging out there. We were able to provide 25 folks to be able to attend for free. Ceremony and celebration space, the $13,000 that came in, 69 people were able to commune. So it's really neat that we can support each other. Thank you everybody that came and was a space holder that volunteered your time for those ceremonies. There was, it looks like about 17 people that did that. And then we have had minister celebrations where we're all able to come together and everybody is able to partake in communion because we've all had the training and know each other. And we had 33 folks commune that way. We also give out discounts for veterans and financial hardship. So you'll see a discount line there. So $418,000 came in this year. Everybody's heard all the things that we've been talking about that are happening within the community. All the things that have been rolled out. One of the things that I really want to focus on is the individual impact to the individual person within the community, and then how that ripples out across their friends and family, those that all are choosing to hold space for their friends and family, or even if just by working on ourselves, we reflect back something really cool. So I'm really curious about all of you and your statement of activity with Sanctuary this year. Like, did it come in plus minus? Where are we at? And stories of impact. I'd love to hear. So anyway, so total revenue of $418,000 distributed between donations and the seminary and coaching and so forth. One of the things that Jason would always look at, would tell us like we should be getting more in donations. We should, rather than being a fee for service type place, like if we can all the community can sustain it, we should have a higher percentage. And so we have a higher percentage this year of that. Thank you. And then costs of programs and services. You can see how we've distributed. This is where we've been able to tag something against something. Our biggest dollar amounts of expenses that we have are salaries and employment costs. That's all the staff that is currently getting paid. You can see there also, how much we're spending on applications and software to create all these different things. Rent, we have a good news there. We got a storage space in Louisville. That was like a big upgrade. So there's a little bit of rent that goes there. Legal and professional fees, we have had really some of the best attorneys look at all of this over the time. And then also my accounting services and professional services are also in there, as I'm not an employee of Sanctuary, but I do get paid for some of my time. So anyway, there's all the percentages and all the dollars laid out. I am going to put a statement of activity inside your member portal that'll kind of break down some more kind of metrics and numbers so you can see how the numbers are made up. But I just think about all the times I hear about all these different trials and new ventures in the government, and they're like, $5 million was put here or $20 million was spent there. And I'm like, look what we're doing for the amount of money that we're doing it. Everybody that's part of it, thank you for that. But we also welcome more money. So we'd like to have, I think, $2 million we're looking for this year in the universe to provide so that we can do some other cool stuff.
Yes, thank you, Amy. So 2025 is shaping up to be an incredible year of continued community gatherings, sacrament ceremonies, and transformational experiences. So what you see here on this slide is just one of two slides showing our kind of like bigger events that we have going on. But I'll go ahead and say that this is by no means an exhaustive display here of the events, gatherings, circles, happenings that we have going on across the country. But these are some really cool things that we want to announce. We have coming up in spring, our first minister's ceremony happening in Ohio. So this will be during the spring equinox time in Peebles, Ohio, near the Serpent Mound, when there's a pretty cool spring equinox festival going on nearby. So Amy has spearheaded this ceremony and opportunity to gather together near the Serpent Mound in Ohio during a really cool time of year. We also have a minister's celebration in April. You see, my birthday does happen to fall on this weekend that we're having the ceremony. So I went ahead and just embraced that. And so that's why you see here, it's Courtney's birthday celebration. It's not all about me, but I will accept that it's falling on my birthday and I'll accept the celebration. And I'm really excited for that. We've talked about our minister programs quite a bit in this presentation. We talk about them a lot because education, empowerment, community building is such a big pillar in what we do. And so our plan is to transition our group sanctuary ceremonies that we hold to be for ministers only. we find this to be really important. Over time, Eric and I have been hosting sacred mushroom ceremonies before Psanctuary for many years. And over time, we've really seen that the more rapport building that we have before, during, after mushroom ceremonies, the more safe and valuable those mushroom communions are. So during our minister program trainings, we're really having this opportunity to dedicate energy to the community and to ourselves and learning, like, how do I want to go into this space? What can I expect? How can I prepare my energy, my household, before going into ceremony? So it's really valuable, and we're really looking forward to continue making our minister programs more accessible so that more folks in our community will be attending these ceremonies. We also have we'll be at Maine Fungi Fest again. Elena will be organizing volunteers to have a presence in our Maine sanctuary community this year. And we'll also be at Playthink again for the third year in a row. Really honored to be invited to this family festival focused on play in an intentional, sincere way. It's been a really great experience for our community thus far.
Yes, and a big part of this year, as Courtney mentioned, we have been doing this work for quite a while, and in July we're going to reach kind of a pivotal moment for us, I think, or at least the 10th anniversary of a pivotal moment when Courtney and I were arrested for our work with psilocybin sacred mushrooms. This happened in 2015. It was a dramatic event that continues to shape our commitment to religious freedom surrounding these sacred mushrooms. This is absolutely your constitutional right to seek your divinity through the consumption of this God-given sacrament. And Sanctuary is doing everything in its power to create a safe, supportive community. We are very confident and very proud of what we've created that was ultimately founded on this, at the time, seemingly tragic event that severely disrupted our lives. Also, we're going to honor Maria Sabina's birthday in July. Maria Sabina, if you're not aware, she is the curandera who brought sacred mushrooms to the wider world. This celebration is a tribute to her legacy and the ancestral wisdom that she carried. Were it not for her, then who knows where we would be in our journey with this sacrament. So, as always, thank you, Maria Sabina, for all of your work and commitment. September also brings National Psilocybin Day, and September is National Mushroom Month. I'll also make mention that that's my birthday, just because my birthday month, just as well, because also there is the Maine Fall Equinox Festival that's going to be happen, where again there will be a gathering in community in celebration of and honoring of the land. In October, we will line up again with the Kentucky Mushroom Fest. This will be our third year here as well. We will be bringing education, ceremony, and advocacy to this wonderful growing festival. These events are more than just dates on the calendar. They are opportunities that we look to heartfully to deepen bonds and honor the path that we are all on. This is a courageous path. And those of you who continue to walk it, let me thank you and show you my respect right now. And if you are capable of joining us in October to celebrate the Kentucky Mushroom Festival, that would be a wonderful way to just also be a part of this legacy. So here we are moving forward together with our intention to grow a collective community, honoring our ancestors and looking to the future that we're creating together.
All right. So this year we are launching a new membership directory. We have had a member directory before, but it hasn't been very user-friendly or as extensive as we'd like it to be and accessible as we'd like it to be. So we're really looking forward to rolling this out. This will make it a lot easier to connect with folks in our membership community, find people near you, and strengthen connections, which is what we keep coming back to as we talk about our community growth and what's ahead. Along with that, we are developing a couple of different playbooks. We're developing a community membership playbook and a minister's playbook as well. We have talked about so many awesome things that we have developed and are still in development. And so that's a lot to navigate for you all listening and hearing about all of this and trying to figure out, well, you know, how do I go about signing up for a minister program, or which one should I sign up for? And then what happens after that? Like, how do I hold space for a friend or family member that's a part of Sanctuary? What's the process for that? And so these playbooks will provide a pretty clear roadmap for you all to know how to navigate all the things that we have going on. So we're really looking forward to that. I hope that these playbooks will empower our ministers, friends and family ministers in particular, to cultivate community near you and know like what's within the bounds of things that I can do here to grow community. So stay tuned for all of that.
And fundraising. So I remember Eric said when he first got ordained, he looked down and he saw a $2 bill and he picked it up. And then I think we had $20,000 donation. And then the next one that was big was 20,000. And so now we just thought while we were doing our planning for 2025, why not think big and go for 2 million this year? So 2 million is the goal. I will not limit us to that. What we're looking to try to raise money for, or we're looking to raise money for, is accessible minister training. So right now everybody has to pay, and sometimes the amount that they're paying is just not a doable thing. Currently, I think it's one person, no, 2 people for every 4 that sign up can get 50% off if they ask for it. But we would like to eventually make the minister programming lesser and lesser and lesser expensive for folks to be able to participate in. Especially because, well, as one of the reasons, because the accessibility for other things relies upon accessibility through the minister program too. So we don't want anybody to be left out. So the other thing that we're really wanting is our own physical space, a place to call home. And we have a vision of that, a place where we can all come together. And it doesn't have to be the only one that we ever end up with, but a first is something we can model after. So a place to come to call our own. And then additional funded roles. As you all see, as we're going through this presentation, there's a lot of different things that are being rolled out, a lot of different operational processes to be managed. And so it's really one of the funnest things I've seen this year is the ability to find somebody who's really passionate about this and is really volunteering a lot or whatever, and being able to say, hey, do you want to do this role as a paid role? Even if it's not necessarily a full-time thing, an opportunity to really do what you like and also get paid. So we would like to be able to have additional funded roles. And also so folks like Courtney and Eric could have a couple weeks off here and there. to rest and rejuvenate. That it's not all, a lot of things are like key points of person. It's like one person is like bearing it. So to be able to get other people in that can also bear that. So, or have the opportunity. Maybe it's not a burden, but an opportunity. So anyway, and then one other thing that, as we're building out this member directory, ultimately to have more tools that you're able to access about yourself and your place within the community and your story along the way. Some sort of member tool to expand that member directory into more of an app or some sort. I'm going to put that out in the universe. There's a lot of information that folks have turned in to us as part of the ministership program, but to be able to see all that in one place for yourself reflected back to you would be really neat.
So as Amy mentioned, one of our goals is to have a physical gathering space we can really call our own, and that is really focused on ceremonies with the mushroom and event space. That's in a more rural area, so we can really be free to commune with the mushroom and whatever comes up. This is a wonderful new development that we have here in our Kentucky community. We have a collaboration with an art collective and social club called Maybe It's Fate. This is in the downtown, in the Butchertown area of Louisville, Kentucky. So it's really accessible. It's pretty close to the interstate, and it's a pretty accessible place for our biggest enclave of Psanctuary to gather for circles. It's a really neat collective. Our mission and values at Psanctuary really align with Maybe It's Fate. It's a membership co-op that Psanctuary sponsored Eric and I to join as members. So we have somewhat of a vote of what goes on at Maybe It's Fate. And it's also a gathering of really many communities here in this space. So there's many artists, holistic practitioners, educators, people that are coming together with intention and are doing stuff in our town, really meaningful things. So it's also a really beautiful space that we are really proud to bring our membership into. We transitioned out of a very old church in Kentucky that we've been hosting circles from for the last few years. And we have been so grateful to have been invited to utilize that space. And it was also a really big challenge for them, for that board of that church, to take care of the facility. So this is a pretty meaningful upgrade to our local community, and something that we really hope to be somewhat of a model for all these regional enclaves of Psanctuary members across the country. If if you could, I really invite you to envision with us here of what's possible. Maybe it looks like Psanctuary communities partnering with collectives and co-ops like this across the country to provide gathering spaces for integration circles and discussion circles of all different kinds to happen. Maybe it's Psanctuary and some kind of ministry of Psanctuary that helps provide these spaces across the country for communities to come together, not just Psanctuary community, but Psanctuary community along with other intentional communities. So this is a space where we will be implementing some of the holocratic practices in our circles. We've developed a format for our circles that will hopefully empower our friends and family ministers here in Kentucky to be able to facilitate within this container of consistency with every circle, which will follow a similar flow and format and circle agreements, but allow friends and family ministers to bring their own personality and theme into the circles for our community. So again, this is happening in Kentucky. We're really excited about it, and we hope that it's a model for our community across the country.
Yes, it really is a wonderful motto, and we are very, very excited and very thankful to be a part of that here in Louisville. Also, very excited as we envision the future. The shared spaces are wonderful, and yet, for when we are working with our sacrament, we really need a very private space. Those of you who are familiar with this work know that a psilocybin ceremony can look very strange to the uninitiated, and that's why it is really important that when we do our deep dive work in particular, or our celebrations, that we are on very private, preferably very natural properties. With that in mind, as Amy mentioned, we are looking to raise a minimum of $2 million this year to purchase and prepare a property for ceremony work. This will allow us to host ceremonies much more frequently. There's a lot that could happen as that door opens. So a permanent property is one of our most ambitious and important goals for 2025. This space would serve as a hub for ceremonies, rites of passage, and seminary training. It's extremely important that our ministers get ongoing experience working as space holders. This would anchor our community in a physical location where we would gather together, learn, and grow together. In addition to this, we're developing accessible promotional materials and programs to ensure that our mission reaches those who need it most. If we have our own property, then that is going to drastically reduce overhead and will allow us to really expand our reach and provide much more accessibility. Yes, this is a bold vision, but here we are doing something that we never dreamed was possible. So I feel very strongly with our community, with the energy behind it, that we can very relatively easily, let's say, manifest something incredibly beautiful for our community where we can really gather together and bring this community and this work even more to life in this world that so desperately needs it. And by building this lasting sanctuary, we will build a future for our children. We are thinking about our children in this work. Uh, this requires financial commitment. This has been one of the most challenging things for me personally to overcome. I have had a lot of resistance to the financial aspect, but as we have seen, like Amy said, how much we do with the money that we have. If we have had 69 people have services for something of $30,000, that is infinitesimally smaller than what people are paying as they go out to retreats in Oregon or therapeutic centers, you name it. A typical dose or a typical session runs from $1,000 to $5,000. We're doing these on donation basis, and we are thriving still. So this is a model that can work, and we're really excited to show this. So this year, we're going to be exploring investment opportunities, different revenue streams, and fundraising strategies to secure a down payment on this future home. It's not just about purchasing land, though. Understand that this is about creating a sacred space that will serve our community for generations to come. I also have a bit of a personal vision of this being a botanical garden nature preserve as well. So today we want to invite you to consider how you might contribute to this vision, whether it's through financial support, skills, connections, or just your own energy. Help bring this dream into reality. We have seen hundreds and hundreds of people whose lives have been drastically changed positively just by being a part of this community. So, all that being said, Sanctuary is so much more than an organization. You all have heard us talk about the details, the finances, the plans, and all that's important. But what really underlies it is the spirit of co creation. We are co creating with our Creator and with each other. We know that giving and receiving are both sacred acts, and we invite you to be on both ends of that stick with us here, y'all. Come and join if you're not already a member of Sanctuary. If you are, what are you bringing to Sanctuary? You have gifts, you have talents, you have energy. What are you receiving from Sanctuary? We have gifts and talents and energy to share with you. So thank you very much for being a part of this sacred cycle.
So with all of that, I want to thank you all for dedicating this time that you've spent, that you've taken out of your day to be here and really be a part of this envisioning and all of the updates that we've provided. I really hope that this empowers you to know what's going on in Sanctuary, have even more hope for our community coming together and how you may be able to contribute to that. So let's all take another intentional breath together to really close out this presentation. Take a moment to visualize and feel in your heart what Sanctuary is for you and what it is that you bring and want to bring into our community. What does it look like 5 years from now, 20 years from now? What does it look like for your children and your grandchildren? And how do you see yourself uniquely as you are? You may have an idea that nobody else in our community would have that could greatly impact the people in our community and the world. So please do share what it is that you would love to see. How have you been inspired from this presentation, all these updates and picture that we've painted for you? You'll see a form if you're attending this presentation live. Then you'll see a form, a survey pop up when the presentation is over, asking you to share what that vision is, any ideas that you have, or even questions that you have. Maybe there's things that you'd like some clarification on from this presentation. Please, please, please do share those things with us. If you're not attending this presentation live, you can scan the QR code that's on the slide. And there'll probably be a link if you clicked on this from an email or in the YouTube channel. There's a link in the notes to fill out a survey and share your thoughts. This is our community, so all of our voices matter. Thank you so much for being a part of it, and so looking forward to continued growth with you.
Indeed. And as we close this presentation, we hope that you are able to feel the love and care that we have put into this work over the years, and in this presentation in particular. It is your presence and your dedication and belief in the mission that makes Sanctuary possible. This is not easy work. Being in community, facing our shadows, growing together is not easy work. But we've already seen over the last 4 years that those who are willing to stick through the challenging times, have the conversations, show up for each other, that's where the gold is. That's what the mushroom teaches us, that we are all in this together. That's what Sanctuary does its very best to embody. And we invite you to be a part of that in 2025 and beyond if you're not already. If you are, I am going to ask you again, as this is becoming a greater and greater focus of Sanctuary, as we understand the power of our collective security. What can you bring to Sanctuary? What gifts have you been given that you can share with this world through our community? How will you show up for yourself? How will you show up for your community? Together, we are creating something very sacred and very strong. May we all recognize our beautiful place in this mycelial web that connects us all.